Hello, great people. President Bola Tinubu reportedly hired lobbyists in the United States to help rebuild his alleged damaged reputation. You will recall that during the 2023 presidential election, reports made the rounds about President Bola Tinubu's alleged drug scandal and certificate controversy. Reportedly, this is affecting his reputation as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu has allegedly spent as much as 2.7 million US dollars for lobbyists to help rebuild his reputation. We'll be discussing the associated issues surrounding this before somebody, a president that already has presidential powers, can reportedly be spending as high as $2.7 million. You may want to do the conversion into naira for you to know how much that is worth. Now, if a president is spending such a money to give to lobbyists to help rebuild his reputation, you will know that there are serious things in the minds of the president. And no thanks to the likes of Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the PDP in the election, and the likes of David Spaulding, investigative journalists, and also some sections of Nigerian media that made the certificate controversy, that made it very popular, and the drug scandal. Before the election, the certificate controversy was just being discussed in some media outlets. It didn't make such rounds, and it didn't generate international controversy. But immediately Atiku Abubakar, turned on it, then it became an issue of global dimension. The election is over, but then the effect of the certificate scandal and drug controversy is still lingering and affecting the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So during that election, all the evidences that were making the rounds during the election and after the election, especially during the presidential election tribunal and the Supreme Court judgment on the matter, it gave Bola Ahmed Tinubu what is called a reputational hit, or if you like, a reputational damage due to Atiku and Udeyi's exposition of his drug and certificate controversy. Now, this controversy, now that he's president, is affecting his prestige before his foreign counterparts. You will see that the president usually go to international forum. You saw him recently with the president of France. The president has been in Saudi Arabia. He has been in different countries, different places. The reason why they are inviting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is because of Nigeria's strategic position in Africa. Nigeria is Africa's most populous nation and also is the African largest economy. So by right, it is statutory that if you want to do anything in Africa, you must invite the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, regardless of who the president is, because Nigeria holds a strategic position. But beyond the photo ops, that you see the president smiling, shaking hands, and the photo will be making the rounds in the media. Beyond that, these countries allegedly do not want to interact more with Nigeria because they reportedly, according to People's Gazette, do not trust the president. People's Gazette made a lot of revelation. People's Gazette is a media platform that usually reports some things that the normal conventional media in Nigeria would be a bit reluctant to report on. So People's Gazette made a lot of expositions on this issue. They said that the prestige of the president before his foreign counterpart is affected. So these people are always reluctant to relate with Nigeria beyond the screen, like beyond the normal photo ops. When you tell them, okay, let's take this deal further, some of them are always reluctant. And sometimes when Bola Ahmed Tinubu tries to flex muscle internationally based on Nigeria's advantageous position, some of these countries do not respond positively. They don't, give him that respect as expected. And when investigations are made, they realize that, oh, it is because of that baggage of the drug scandal, the certificate issue that is affecting the president. So the president now need to hire lobbyists. That is like a very strategic move, because you want to ask yourself, why would you want to hire lobbyists? Of course, you will hire lobbyists because lobbyists is like, how do I make this simple for my policymakers? Lobbyists is, you have a car, your car is damaged, you need a mechanic to fix that car, right? And you have a cloth, your cloth is torn, you need a tailor to fix that car. So when in the international scene, when you suffer any reputational damage or reputational hit, or you need people to present your case before foreign countries and powers that be, then you need lobbyists to lobby for you, as it is in the normal human relations, that sometimes you lobby to get things, you try to press button to make things happen. So also it is exactly in international relations. So sometimes when people don't believe in you, you will need people to kind of like speak on your behalf, to convince them. You need to kind of like appoint key people that can speak to the other people in the language that they understand. For instance, if the US is not giving you the good vibe, you need to kind of like appoint people that can speak to strategic people, policymakers, stakeholders, decision makers in the US, for them to now present your case and argue your case before the US government. For instance, if Joe Biden is going to take a decision, it will be people that will be seated with Joe Biden, right? Those kind of people, you need to find a means of influencing them to your favor, that if you can do that, ultimately you will get a favorable decision from the US government. So for me, I think that it is ideal for the president to hire lobbyists. It's best for the president to hire lobbyists rather than to just sit down and just resign to his fate. At this point in time, that is the right thing to do, because whether anybody likes it or not, he's the president of Nigeria anyway, and he will remain the president till 2027. And if he remains the president till 2027, he has to do everything possible to make his president achieve as much as possible. If not, his presidency will just be a waste. And I don't think there's anybody that want to be a president and will just want his tenure to be a waste. So according to People's Gazette, 2.7 million was approved by the Tinubu presidency in 2004 for positive public relation of President Bola Tinubu. I've already explained to you why sometimes you need some of this public relation. Now, the PR experts that were hired include David Spaulding of Linep Legal in the United States. He was hired in April 2024, according to People's Gazette. Also, Global Strategy, an online reputation management firm, was hired at 410,000 US dollars per year. The one of David Spaulding, which is Linep Legal in the United States, was hired for like 160,000 US dollars. Then some of the key partners of this Linep Legal was reportedly hired for $40,000, $30,000 respectively. So it is not just one lobbyist. It is like a number of lobbyists. Each of them will be doing their own, making their own strategic moves. But the end goal of that move is to make sure that President Bola Tinubu has a good outlook before the world. Now, what are the effects of Atiku's outburst? You will recall, like I said earlier, that it was when Atiku hammered on that drug and certificate case that it became a global issue, that Atiku spent money. Atiku made all moves. Atiku used all his network and contact. Imagine hiring lawyers to be pursuing case, even in the US courts, that to be pressing for the release of that document. So it now became a global issue that different countries, different media now gained interest in it, and this itself brought a lot of embarrassment for President Bola Tinubu. Imagine you being a president of a country and they are tying you to drugs, tying you to certificate scandal, rightly or wrongly. It will greatly affect your personality, especially when you are amidst your foreign counterpart, president like you. And if other countries produce presidents that do not have any kind of like scandal to their name, they won't feel convenient with you. Now, one of the effects is that the UAE embarrassment in September 2023. You will recall that Bola Tinubu, president of Nigeria, went to UAE, and the UAE at that time placed a travel ban on Nigeria after the meeting. And they have, had some nice international relations talk, and the media aide of Bola Tinubu announced that the travel ban on Nigeria have been lifted. And all of a sudden, UAE backtracked. According to the investigation by People's Gazette, when UAE was at the meeting, they're like, okay, we can make this happen. But after the meeting, when they are now doing further when UAE officials were doing further investigation, and they realized that the person that they have been having the meeting and agreement with has some monumental scandal to his name, UAE quickly backtracked so that they can have time to investigate further whether they are taking the right decision, whether it is not that the president is just trying to come and cajole them. And that is why it is always good for you to have a good image. And that's what Bola Tinubu is trying to bring forward. But then, Nigeria will always be the one to suffer for it. Another effect of that particular drug and certificate scandal is that you would agree with me that since Bola Tinubu became president, there has been this downward spiral of the economy. There has been no major growth in the economy, particularly if you decide to be empirical, not relying on government statistics and figures, like speaking to the average Nigerian, going to your village, going to your city, looking at the lives of your friend and family, the way they are living before Bola Tinubu came into office, the convenience they had. Do they have that kind of convenience? What they can afford before Bola Tinubu became president, can they afford it now? So those are empirical way to verify how thriving an economy is, not the government statistics and figures. So I look at it from that empirical way, that downward spiral of the economy. A country cannot have oil, a country cannot have enough human and natural resources, and the economy of that country will not be making sense, to use street balance. So these are some of the effects, because people are quite reluctant based on the image of the president that is put out there. So countries are not relating positively with Nigeria because Bola Tinubu is also surrounded by corrupt politicians. According to the investigation by People's Gazette, that Bola Tinubu, despite the fact that he has a reputational baggage, he has surrounded himself with politicians that have little or no global network and that have some, scandal or reputational crisis as well. The likes of Atiku Bagudu, who is allegedly known for laundering funds for Abacha when Abacha was the head of state. Atiku Bagudu is the minister in charge of Nigeria's budget. Somebody like Wike, who has turned himself into the alleged pharaoh of Rivers State, that he has not let the people of Rivers State to breathe, despite the fact that he ruled and had a good time as governor of Rivers State. So this kind of people that Tinubu is surrounding himself with has even add more to the reputational damage that the president is allegedly suffering from. So if we look at the president, the foreign counterpart thinks that there's a reputational damage. Then if they now look around him, the people he surrounds himself with, when they see people like Atiku Bagudu, they'll be like, no. When they see people like Wike, they'll be like, no. Then people like Uche Nnaji, who was reported to have forged NYC certificate and is still in the cabinet. So those kind of people, it's is an issue. So the thing is that you can hire foreign lobbyists. That's okay. But then what are you yourself doing to make sure that you present yourself in good light to the world? If you hire foreign lobbyists from now to tomorrow, they can only do little. They can't do much. There's a role for foreign lobbyists. There's a role that you yourself must fulfill. If you make a presidential broadcast, a presidential media chat, and you are calling Wike that, Wike is a good man, and the people that want to come and deal with you, that want to interact with you, they are hearing you say that. And when they look at the profile of Wike, they'll be like, this man is reportedly always high on alcohol. This man is reportedly, power drunk. This man, reportedly speaks uncourtly. So if this man is a good man to you, then it begs the question, can we take you as a good man? So the president himself, to use street balance, is a loose guard a whole lot. And that itself, according to People's Gazette, is affecting the president. Another thing that is affecting him is the Lagos-Calabar road contract that the president awarded to Mr. Calgary. And Sheyi Tinubu allegedly had stakes in that particular company itself. So, and recently, the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project that named Bola Tinubu the third most corrupt world leaders that is most ruthless in organized crime. Imagine that kind of a thing, So, despite the fact that the president has paid these lobbyists and their contract is still on, they have really not done much to revive the personality of the president. What I can say is that it's not about hiring foreign lobbyists. It's about living a good life and avoiding scandal. So, on a final note, if the president is innocent in all this, may God see him through, may God vindicate him. And if he is guilty in all of this, for the sake of Nigeria that is suffering based on this reputational baggage. May God help him to navigate through the storm, at least for the time that he's president of Nigeria, because you can't detach Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the president of Nigeria. And if the president carries a baggage, definitely Nigeria carries a baggage. So right now, we have no choice than to just pray for God to help Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because as much as you are a Nigerian, your destiny is tied to the daily actions that it takes. And that is why I usually tell people that don't curse your president, don't curse your governor, because you have not cursed them. Nigeria, get meaning. So if you are now cursing them, what will now happen to the country? May God help Bola Ahmed Tinubu and see him through this storm at this point in time. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science. Subscribe to my channel, follow me on Facebook, follow me on TikTok. See you in my next video. I love you all sincerely.